So there's this podcast I like called Till Death Do Us Blart. It's a yearly crossover between the shows My Brother and Me and The Worst Idea of All Time. The former show is hosted by three brothers who ostensibly answer advice questions but in practice get distracted by dumb tangents. The latter is hosted by two Kiwi comedians who watch bad movies once a week for a year. The same bad movies. Like they did a full year of Grown Ups 2, and a year of Sex and the City 2, and a year of Sex and the City 1, and etc. Anyway, every Thanksgiving, the two shows cross over for the Death Blart. They watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and talk about it for about 90 minutes. And this show is amazing. It is incredible to watch a bunch of comedians ramble on about how much they hate this shitty film starring Kevin James as a mall cop that does a Die Hard in Las Vegas. The hosts go back and forth on whether they like the film, but they're consistent in hating Paul Blart, being perplexed by Neil McDonough's villain character, and adoring a few random moments, like the scene where a guy eats a rotten banana, the scene where a guy advertises the big sticky mess, a grenade launcher that shoots glue foam, and the incredible Shadow Man scene where a bird mauls Paul Blart while a piano player ignores his screams of pain. They call this the Shadow Man scene because they have come to the conclusion that a malevolent, godlike entity called the Shadow Man is manipulating things to make Paul Blart suffer. They go down some pretty weird rabbit holes when talking about this movie. You expect this to be because they've been talking about Paul Blart for 10 years, but actually, they came up with the Shadow Man stuff in year one. It's a fun show. They've done a bunch of weird things over the years to make the film palatable, like watching it in French, having one of them watch Here Comes the Boom instead and guess which of them is the faker, and watching the film while listening to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, which is apparently a religious experience. I've been listening to the show for years, since 2019 I think. It's become a tradition for me to listen to the new episode every Thanksgiving morning. I drive a lot for work, and last October I decided, hey, I should re-listen to every episode of the show. And I enjoyed it, because it's a great show. And then, Thanksgiving afternoon, while my family was resting, I decided to watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. It sucked! Jesus Christ! This film is terrible! It's unwatchable! I do not envy the show's host, because to call Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 dog shit is an insult to dog shit. The best part of the show's concept is that the hosts plan for it to be eternal. They plan to continue doing it until they die, and after. Like, they've all named replacements to take over in the event of their deaths. And this means that eventually there is going to be the greatest podcast episode ever. Like, in 30 years, after one of the hosts dies, they're going to have to sit there mourning a brother while also asking a person if they like the bad Paul Blart movie. I respect the idea of arbitrarily deciding to make a lifelong commitment to make yourself miserable. That's why I'm starting this new series called Till Death Do Us Blart Blart, where every year I will listen to every episode of Death Blart and make a video on it. I kinda did an episode 0 last year when I released a video about Mabim Bam on Thanksgiving. Anyway, this is the first part of this series that I will definitely regret starting eventually. We have a short video because I'm working on other projects, but, in the future, maybe I can talk about all the sequel ideas they pitched, or track who the replacements are, or I don't fucking know. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go eat some turkey.